Right, so we need some inspiration. So we'll take a look round on the internet, Instagram, look at some pictures of vans, look at some interiors, and need to find out exactly where everything's going to go. So we planned the van out. This time it was all in my head. Should have done it on some paper like I always do. But yeah, we got the inspiration. Ordered some wheels. This is the wheels. Unfortunately, this is what turned up. Looked nothing like what we'd ordered. We were right disappointed. The centre cap stuck out like a sore thumb. So they wouldn't have them back, so we made some more of our own, and they did look quite, not too bad when we were finished. And there's the wheels on. Right, so got all the badges off, and I've given them a right good roughing up with some sandpaper, because I'm going to spray them with some black spray paint. It's just a bed liner, so you've got to rough them up because they're chrome. If you don't, it'll just flake straight off. So I've used some real rough sandpaper and took the shine right off them. So I know they still look shiny in this, but they're nothing like they were. So we'll spray them up, wait for them dry and get them back on. There you go, they've all had a coat now. We'll wait for that dry, give them another couple of coats, and then get them put back on the van. Next job, I think, we're going to tackle some sound deadening, because when you're sleeping in this van, if you don't deaden that roof, every time it rains, it's going to sound like the roof's coming in basically. So we're going to take this deadening matting, again another eBay purchase, and it's foil back, this one is. So it offers some kind of reflectics as well, and we'll stick that to the ceiling, and we'll completely seal it with some foil tape as well. That gives us kind of a vapour barrier as well. This dodo matting, I've got 2 rolls of it, because I generally do all the side panels as well, and I take these panels off at the bottom, and I'll do in there as well. And then the wheel arches are a massive one. If you do the wheel arches sound deadening, you'll get rid of a lot of the noise. Now you can see I've done pretty much the whole van. Right, so insulating the roof, and right at the back of the van, there's obviously, you've got these rails in the roof that you can fix to, whether you put plywood across them and fix that, or you get self-tappers and you fix directly to the roof rails to give you a bit more head clearance. But right at the back there's no rail, so you need to come up with some kind of formed rail. Sorry. Yeah, you need to form that rail so it basically goes in contour with the van, but it also needs to line through with all the other roof rails. So basically comes through and lines through, so you use a straight edge markers, as you can see. Got a marker line across it, and I've followed that marker line. You have to bend the piece of wood up so it takes the same curve as the roof rails. Easy then to board the ceiling, you've got something to fix to at the back. All the wiring that's obviously across the top of the Sprinter needs to be tucked up underneath there. Job's a good one. Right, now before we start doing any insulation, obviously we've got to get some wiring in place. All the Victron stuff has turned up, and you can see we got it here mounted on a board, and then we have to start looking at wiring diagrams of what other people have done, what Victron recommend, and basically just go through and make up your own wiring diagram. Here you can see my own diagram based on what I've read, and then there you can see everything on the board wired up, and then we've got a distribution board which sends cables of the correct size to each and every appliance. Everything that we had basically came from a company called Bespoke Solar. We found them on Instagram. If you want the link, I'll put it down in the description. Alright, so now we're insulating. You see up above. We're using this insulation board. This is just a 30mm board. It fits nicely between the top rafters, or whatever you want to call them, of the van. Basically, we score it with a knife, snap it, and cut the opposite side, a bit like you cut plasterboard. Any thicker than that, you need to cut it with a saw. Obviously, down for the panels below there, we'll use a 50mm or even a 70mm if we can get it in. And it's basically cut tight so it fits in the rafters, and then we use this foil tape, which is going to completely seal the whole van and give it some kind of vapour barrier. And this foil tape comes on a roll like so. It's easy enough to buy and get hold of. Just work your way around the van, basically doing that, making sure all the holes, all these little holes that you get on the van, make sure they're covered up as well. If you can, try and get some insulation in there as well. Don't use foam filler because it's nasty and horrible to get out, because we've got wires and stuff in there. If we need to get at them later on and there's foam filler in there, it's going to make it a pig of a job. Just use some sheep's wool, or just try and get some Salatex in there. Just do what you can. And when it's all done, you should have a completely sealed roof, and it'll look like this. So just as we finished the insulating, we had a phone call from the upholsterer. The seats were ready. God, they look really tasty. We couldn't wait to get them in, so fitted them. Shouldn't have done, really. The swivel bases had turned up. If you look though, we had a bit of a nightmare with the carriage, but we managed to sort it out in the end, and got the seats fitted. So just a quick one now. When we changed the seat, obviously it was a double before, and we changed it for a single seat. And what you have to do is basically, there's a cable that goes to the seat belt that's in the bench side on the middle seat. Obviously you're taking away that seat, so what you're gonna have to do basically is you need to put something in there. Either use the old seat belt, which is a bit cumbersome, or you need to put something with the same resistance in. It's actually, I think it's somewhere between 2 and 6 ohms. So you can buy a resistor off eBay for pence. I think they were something like 90 pence each. I just bought a bunch of them, just like this. These basically resistors, as you can see, they're at different ohmages. You can basically put a meter across and measure the resistance of the actual seat belt itself, and then you can buy some of these. You just cut them out of the strip and solder them into a bit of wire, put them in line in the seat belt, and then it should be fine. Basically you need to do this before you restart the engine, because if you restart the engine before you do it, you will bring up the warning light, and then you'll need to plug it in to actually switch it off, even if you put the resistor in. So make sure you do the seat out first, change your seat over, then put the resistor in line. If you need to, I would put a 3 to 4 ohm one in, that would be suffice. Put it in line, and then turn the engine on, and it should be fine. Make sure you do this, or you will get your SRS warning light. Right, so seat swivels. We fitted the seat swivels, but we've got now, when the driver's seat swivels, it will catch on the handbrake. So we've bought this kit. It's only 20 quid. It's basically a bracket that bolts onto the arm, and then the handbrake actually bolts onto the bracket and lowers it down. And all you've got to do basically is take them 2 bolts out. And then this bracket fits there, and then the handbrake actually fits onto the changer then. Lowers the handbrake, seat doesn't catch. Job's a good one. 20 quid. There you go folks, I've just found some instructions in the box. It's a company called R&J Camper Solutions. It's all fitted now, the handbrake's lower and the seat will swivel now without catching on top of the handbrake and scratching it. But yeah, well, didn't really need the instructions, it's pretty self-explanatory, it was only 4 bolts. So, but they're there anyway, just in case you need them. R&J Camper Solutions. Cheers guys, works a treat. Alright guys, that concludes the next video, number 2. It was basically insulating, sound deadening, and a little bit of the wiring. I'm sorry we didn't get much in the way of wiring. The wiring on this camper was so complex, we had to do quite a bit of toing and froing with a company called Bespoke Solar. And it's just, I had to concentrate quite hard on it, so I just forgot to video quite a lot of it. If you have got any questions about it, fire us a message down below. Only too happy to answer it, or we can put you in touch with Bespoke Solar. The guys that work there are brilliant. Right, if you like the video and you want to see the next one, like and subscribe, hit the little bell, and we'll see you again for the next episode. Cheers folks.